Hello and welcome to my top 10 albums of the year 2020. I'm not going to go in depth about every single album this year, just the ones that really stood out to me. And yes, I know, but Yemmy, they're all in a top 10 order, why are some more important than others? Because some of them, even though the music was good and nice and fantastic, some of these albums gave me more of an impression than others, but I like them less than others. So, without further ado, let's jump into my top 10 albums of the year.
I think I'm finding I'm in love with you. My southern heart is rusted in its place, and all your shadow stars won't fill your outer space. But if you rely on me, I'll let my world remain.
Number 10 is called 1896 by steam-powered Giraffe. This is a band that I've been following for a few years, ever since I watched a, yes, I'm sorry to admit it, I watched a WatchMojo.com video, and they showed up in the honorable mentions section of the episode, and it was in like the best band trios or something like that, or whatever, and so I took a listen. I had to listen to their song called Honeybee, and you instantly kind of fall in love with the band at that point. I've been following them ever since, through the ups and the downs and the blah blah blahs. 1896 is a great album. It really encapsulates how each member of the band is their own person, and they all kind of have their own vibe to them when they have their song. And the newest addition to the band, and actually the newest singer in the band, is Zero, who all of his songs have like this really nice vibe to them, and I really enjoy his songs the most on the album compared to everyone else's. But they're all good songs. I think that the album has a good amount of comedy to it and a great amount of songwriting ability and stuff like that. Some of the lyrical quality in it is a little bit lower than other ones, I do think, but overall, it's a great album. And if you like more of like a laid-back, kind of chill vibe, I don't know how to exactly describe the band. It has more of like a folky feel to it, I guess you could say. But if you like that kind of stuff, check out this album.
You have more or less forgotten me this summer, and I can't hide my disappointment.
Number 9 on the list is Song Machine by Gorillaz. This is an album that I didn't think that I would like. Gorillaz isn't a band that I really enjoy all that much. I back in the day, you listen to their first two albums, and they're fine, and then I kind of fell out of them because I'm not really hugely into like a rap or stuff like that. Some of the different people that they collaborate even on this album with. I don't really like their music, but the overall vibe of the album is nice. It definitely is. It almost feels like a more interesting version of the Foo Fighters album called Sonic Highways, where they went out and they collaborated with like a different person on every single song. This one, you can definitely feel the inspiration from each artist, whether it's the lead singer from The Cure or even Elton John. There's just these songs kind of morph and feel very, they're just very interesting. They kind of feel weird at times, but they're very interesting. Obviously, there's some songs that I like better than others on this album, but for the most part, I really enjoyed the entire experience, so much so that I got the vinyl version of it, and it sounds even better there. Number 8 on the list is Afterburner by Dance Gavin Dance. I don't want to say that I'm disappointed with the album, because I'm definitely not, but in terms of the last 3 albums with the new lead singer, or not really new anymore, but with Tillian as the lead singer, this one's definitely the weakest of the bunch. I definitely think that Mothership is their magnum opus, and everything after that has kind of been like, it's good, but it's not the best, And even though I will forever be chasing after that Mothership sound, Afterburner does have a good amount of great songs to them. One of my new favorite songs by the band is, of course, Prisoner, which is the lead track on the album. And there's a good amount of good songs on here. The album does go by fast. Some of the songs I didn't like, I mean, there's 2 songs at the end that have, like, featuring this person, and I think the final song on the album is, I'm gonna use the word abysmal, but I don't mean it in, like, a harsh way. I just kind of mean it in, like, that's the only way that I can describe it compared to the other ones. And I think that what's it called? Something Global. One of the first, like, the 3rd song on the album, I believe they're speaking in Spanish. I feel like that's a song that should have been a little bit later on the album. Just my personal opinion. But anyways, Dance Gavin Dance, Afterburner. Check it out if you want.
Yeah, ha ha ha! You wanna know where you are, laddie?
The next album on the list, number 7, is Curse of the Crystal Coconut by Alestorm. I've loved Alestorm since the beginning, not gonna lie. And yes, they did have a stinker album in the middle of their career so far, but for the most part, I really enjoy the band, and I still really enjoy them. I saw them at Warped Tour a few years ago. I saw them live in Cleveland when I was in high school. And even though their lineup has changed and their vibe has changed a little bit, they're still a great band, and if you don't like metal and you don't like pirates, then this might not be the band for you. But for me, it's a really great album. They really combined their love of comedy and like this pirate stuff that they got going on, and it really just all came to a focus here in this album. Where the last album I felt was a little bit unfocused, this album definitely has a focal point to it, and it sounds great. There's a lot of good songs on here, and I love the album artwork, and I really like Tortuga. I thought I wasn't gonna like that one because it was more of like a poppy, hip-hoppy vibe, but it actually is really good. So yeah, if you want to check out Alestorm, I suggest doing so. It's a great band, and a lot of people love to listen to them while playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but I suggest listening to them anytime because they're really good. Also, another thing I want to add is this album actually adds to the lore of the band, especially with Wooden Leg Part 2. It's really cool to see them continuing storylines from stuff that's from like their first album. It's really cool as a fan of them for such a long time. Number 6 is The Death of Me by Polaris. This was a great return to form for the band, and it's just overall enjoyable. Next, number 5 on the list is Greyview, which was by Animate. This band is just a really technical band. They do such a good job writing their songs, and this album is definitely the best one that they've made so far. Even though their other albums are really good, this one definitely stands out as a more mature sounding addition to their discography. The next album we're going to talk about, number 4, is Guardians by August Burns Red. Once again, just a great return to form. The technical ability and the songwriting and everything like that is just on point with this album. Definitely one of my favorites. Number 3 is No Eternity in Gold. This is by Like Moths to Flames. Like Moths to Flames, yes, it's quite a mouthful of a name, but their last album definitely went a little bit lighter in terms of music. This is metalcore to its core, and their last album was more so like a lighter metal, had a lighter tone to it. Even though they still incorporate some of those lighter elements into like the choruses and stuff like that on No Eternity in Gold, they definitely embraced their heavy past and came back with a ass-kicking, excellent metalcore to the bone album.
I fell down to earth from 100 miles away, and somehow I still make it work. But it's overrated and somehow played out.
Number 2 on my list is Ugly is Beautiful by Oliver Tree. Oliver Tree may be a bit of a meme here or there, but his songwriting ability and everything like that is super, super good. I know that a lot of people won't take him seriously, and it's understandable because of the way he presents himself. But personally, this album is one of the only albums on this list that I can sing along with, and I just know all the lyrics by heart. And it's a quick go-through album. Most of the songs are no longer than 2 or 3 minutes, but the amount of deep, impactful lyrical quality is really, really good. People kind of write him off because he's so goofy, but this album proves that you can be goofy and you can look weird, but you can still make beautiful music, and you can do pretty much anything you want. And there's a lot of deeper meaning kind of woven into a lot of these songs. Take the song Cash Machine, talking about overspending and people who are rich, and you kind of could take it at face value as, you know, kind of like a goofy song, but there's something definitely hidden underneath there in the lyrics, and I really gotta applaud him. Even though he puts on this weird meme facade, he's definitely a great songwriter, and even though he said that he was done with it, I really hope that was just a joke, and I really hope that he comes back with another album in the future.
We are riding across the bridge, chasing honey, closing in.
And number 1 on my list is Ohms by Deftones. Now, maybe some of you might have saw this coming, but for me personally, I had kind of given up on Deftones. They had completely changed their sound, and unlike the band 100th, it sounded bad. But now, Deftones has come back with a masterpiece, a masterful work of songwriting ability that takes you back to those days in the early 2000s, and you know Cherry Waves and Minerva and all those great classic songs by them, and you definitely feel that influence for this album. They definitely went back to their roots on this one, and usually when people say that, I don't believe them, because it's usually not 100% true, but this album is definitely 100% Deftones. If you fell out of love with Deftones, this will definitely bring you back in. It's got like that White Pony / Saturday Night kind of vibe to it, and they incorporated some of those like synth elements that are from like the newer albums that they did where they changed their sound, but it actually really works well here. And even though there's some segments of songs that maybe go on for a little long, like the snapping section at the end of the one song that happens, I still think this is a masterful piece of art, and I really think that they should continue on from here, or hell, end the band here, because this is gonna be their lasting legacy in my eyes. No matter what they do with their next album, this one is definitely my favorite of their albums now, and I don't know if they can top this. If they do, it's going to be tough, but I think that Deftones is going to run into the Dance Gavin Dance problem where their best work has been done, and now what do they do? Alright, thank you for listening to this small top 10 video. Still working on the Game of the Year video, which will be coming out in January. If you want to join the Discord and join in on the Game of the Year contest, you can do so by joining the Discord. You can follow me everywhere that I'm at, and I hope you have a great rest of your year. I'm Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm out.